aboard the Inland Empire Express. 10:50 a.m., leaving no listeners behind. KCAA.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's a child of God, a husband, NRA conservative, radical right-wing supervillain, and Twitter rock star. American by birth, Texan by choice, and a badass by nature. He's the owner of TomO'Halloran.com, O'HalloranMedia.com, and PatriotRadio.net. Please welcome Tom O'Halloran.
Welcome to Jihad on America with Tom O'Halloran. I am your host, Tom O'Halloran. Broadcasting tonight from our underground bunker deep in Arcantana, Brascarado, to educate, irritate, and agitate. And if you're not agitated by the time this hour is over, I'm afraid the terrorists may have already won. If you'd like to join the conversation tonight, please call in at 888-909-1050. If you'd like to listen on your phone, call 832-999-1050. You can also listen to the live stream on your computer at PatriotRadioshow.com. Again, my name's Tom O'Halloran. You can follow me on Twitter. I am TPO_hisself. My primary blog is TomO'Halloran.com. When you get there, please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, and any other social media you like. Also, please follow my editor, Veronica Coffin. She manages my blogs these days, and without her doing that, I would not be able to do this. You can find her follow buttons at the bottom of each and every post. Also, please stop by my Facebook show page. It's facebook.com/Patriot Radio Show. And I would love you to click like on that as well. I'm on air 3 nights a week, so be sure to catch Patriot Radio with Tom O'Halloran every Tuesday and Wednesday at the same time. It's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Friday nights, I do this show. It's Jihad on America, where I cover the Islamists in America, who they are, what they want, and why you should be afraid. If you did not catch my show on the Muslim Brotherhood or my show on Islam is not a religion, please find your way to PatriotRadioshow.com and listen to both of those shows. It will open your eyes, they will enlighten you, and they will give you a solid foundation upon which we will build each week. Tonight, we'll continue pulling back the mask of Islam, looking at what's being done in the name of Islam, in the name of Allah, both here and abroad. I do the news of Islam around the world because it's a glimpse into the future in America as Islam grows here in the homeland, should we continue to bury our head in the sand and let it do so. Keep abreast of all of my shows, listen to the live stream, and listen to the archives of any that you may have missed at PatriotRadioshow.com. I'd like to thank my sponsor tonight, noted columnist and author, Colin Flaherty, author of White Girl Bleed a Lot, The Return of Racial Violence to America and How the Media Ignore It. A phenomenal book, almost 400 pages, story after story of the black on white mob violence. Over 80 cities, over 300 incidents in the last couple of years. It's a terrible thing that's sweeping the nation, and you are not being told the truth. Also, I'd like to mention that 2 of my friends, both conservatives, had their books come out just in the last week or two. Jim Garrity from the National Review, he's a columnist over there. His book, The Weed Agency, is hilarious. It's Carl Hiaasen Goes to D.C., if you will. It's about a government agency set up to keep weeds out of yards. And it was set up almost as a joke, and it just grew and grew. And they try to take it out and unplug it and disassemble it, but it just gets more money and more offices and more people, and it's hilarious. Also out this week, Kurt Schlichter's Conservative Insurgency, The Struggle to Take America Back 2009 to 2041. Just came in yesterday, so I really haven't read it yet, but I know the guy, I know his writing, and it's going to be a great book. Please check him out. So let's get started today. We're going to begin the show the way we begin every Friday. We're going to catch you up on what the religion of peace, that's what they love to call it, the religion of peace has been doing since we last spoke in the last 7 days. In Pakistan, militants set off a car bomb packed with ball bearings outside a rival mosque, killing 2 worshippers and injuring 2 more. In Somalia, a lawmaker and his bodyguard are gunned down by pro-Sharia militants. In Baghdad, 5 civilians are blown to bits by a Shaheed suicide bomber. Afghanistan, 16 Afghans are pulled into pieces by a Fedayeen suicide bomber. Benghazi, an imam is quickly gunned down after denouncing Islamic terror. Nigeria, at least 50 innocents are slaughtered when pro-Sharia militants set off a bomb at a market. Iraq, Sunnis target a Shia mosque with mortars, killing a half a dozen gathered for worship. This is the religion of peace. When people tell you that Islam is a peaceful religion, they mean they blow you to pieces. Continuing, in Cairo, a series of bombings by Anjad Milsur leave 2 dead and 8 injured. Mogadishu, fundamentalists shoot an apostate to death at a market. That's what happens when you leave Islam. It's such a beautiful, wonderful religion. They maintain their membership by killing people that leave. Nigeria, at least 50 people are massacred by Boko Haram in attacks against churches with grenades and guns. Mogadishu, Islamists gunned down 3 people to mark the beginning of Ramadan. Yes, mark your holy day by gunning down people of another sect in your own faith. In Nigeria, 10 villagers are reported dead following a raid by Muslim terrorists. Egypt, a 15-year-old and her mother bleed to death following a bomb blast blamed on the Muslim Brotherhood. Iraq and Ramadi, ISIS sends mortar shells into the center of the city, killing 9 civilians. Egypt, 4 dead. Religious radicals murder 4 local cops. Syria, an apostate, is shot by ISIS and then hung from a cross. Nigeria, 7 security personnel lose their lives to a Boko Haram attack. Nigeria, Islamists set off a bomb at a brothel and then machine gun survivors. Uganda, an 18-year-old girl and an old man are murdered by machete-wielding Muslim radicals in an attack on their church service. In 1 week, 250 dead and another 260 or so injured by these peace-loving people. There have actually been more people killed by Islamists each year than in the entire 350 years of the Spanish Inquisition combined. Islamic terrorists murder more people every day, every single day, than the Ku Klux Klan did in the last 50 years. More civilians were killed by Muslim extremists in 2 hours on September 11th than in 36 years of sectarian conflict in Northern Ireland. And 19 Muslim hijackers killed more innocent civilians in 2 hours on September 11th than the number of American criminals executed in the last 65 years. Islamists are murdering, lying, deceitful, evil followers of a goat-raping pedophile named Mohammed. He did those things. This isn't me. This isn't me defiling Islam. These are the facts about Islam. Mohammed had sex with goats. He married a 6-year-old. All Muslims are told to emulate Mohammed, be like him. Mohammed killed anybody that was not Muslim or wouldn't convert to Islam. They're told to emulate him. So their job is to have sex with goats, rape kids, and kill anybody that's not Muslim. These are vile people. Don't let the liberals tell you that they're a religion of peace. We've got stories coming up that will curl your toes. We've got some bills to pay. Stick with us. We'll be right back in 3.
The Inland Empire's radio home for the Dave Ramsey Show.
If you want to mess around with the Bitcoin thing and you're in that world a little bit, that's fine. But don't put your freaking life savings in it, doofus.
AM 1050 and KCAAradio.com.
Guardian of our constitutional republic, founder of PatriotRadio.net. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom O'Halloran.
Stuff your pockets while Rome is burning. I've got a feeling that the tide is turning. I am America. One voice, united we stand. I am America. One hope to heal our land. I will not give up.
And welcome back. Welcome back to Jihad on America. I am your host, Tom O'Halloran. Just before the break, I mentioned that it's the Muslims' job to have sex with goats, rape kids, and, okay, technically it's not their job. But they are, by duty, bound to emulate Muhammad, who did these things. He raped goats, he raped kids, and he killed anybody that was not Islam and wouldn't convert to Islam. Muslims are duty-bound to emulate him, and it is specifically allowed in Islam to have sex with goats. This is allowed. There are rules. You don't have sex with a goat and sell it to someone in your village. That could have embarrassing consequences, I guess. You could sell it to the next village. You're also allowed to have child sex. It's okay to have sex with kids as long as you think, not medically proven, but as long as you think their body can hold your weight. These are disgusting things. It is also allowed. There was a fatwa put out about 2 years ago that allows sex with your wife's corpse. Yes, I said it. Necrophilia. You're allowed to have sex with your wife for a brief period after she dies. Now, I don't know that this was ever defined. It could be just like a week, maybe 2 weeks. Not sure. Its brief period is up to interpretation, so maybe, again, as long as the body holds together. These are disgusting animals. They're savages. Boko Haram, another story, slaughters 100 Christians at 5 Nigerian churches on a Sunday during service. Slaughters 100 Christians while they're in church. Then they wandered through the neighborhoods burning their homes just in case they missed anybody. Savages. And remember, they're not all savages. They're going to seem like nice neighbors, nice co-workers, nice, pleasant people, as long as they are a minority in the population. But as their percentage of the population rises, they get more boisterous. They get more demanding. You have to do this. You have to do that. We've got a few stories of that coming up tonight. But in that list that I read opening the show, all of those killings in the last week, 250 plus killings around the world by Islamists. These are almost all Muslims they're killing because they're not extremist enough. A couple of them had left Islam. They were the apostates. They were killed for leaving Islam. If you're not Islamic enough, if you're not extremist enough, if you allow your children to go outside, the girls to go outside without a burqa on, they'll kill you. You do Islam our way, or we're just going to shoot you or bomb you. Bombs, beheadings, you name it. I mean, that was a wide list of different ways that Muslims kill other Muslims. How much slack do you think they're going to have for you when the time comes? When they get enough people in the population, when they get enough people elected to the Senate, to the Congress, to pass laws that will allow beheading of people because they're homosexual. My friends on the liberal side of the aisle, yes, I love you. I just think you're severely misguided. Because on one hand, you say, the LGBTQ community they're my friends. I've got all these gay friends. I love these gays. And on the other hand, you say, stop talking bad about the Muslims and the Islams, the Mohammedites. Stop being mean to them. They're my friends. I'm sorry. I would have a problem if I was black and you said to me that I'm your friend. And then you happen to mention that Billy Bob is your friend too, and he's the head of the KKK. That guy wants to kill me. This is the same thing, my friends. Muslims kill homosexuals just for being homosexual. That is Islam. It is in the book. It is in the Quran. That is what you do. Just as you cut their hands off if you find a thief. Just as you stone your daughter to death if she kisses a boy. These people are not right. Oh. Hamas supporter. Remember, Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood front group over in Palestine, the one that's launching missiles into Israel. These Hamas terrorists kidnapped 3 young boys. And for 18 days, Hamas supporter Obama was silent. Silent for 18 days while the boys were kidnapped and finally killed. Not one word from Obama, not one word from John Kerry, the so-called Secretary of State. 3 young boys murdered. Now comes an honor killing that happened in Israel. It was a Muslim. A young guy named Abu Qadir was killed, almost assuredly. It's not known for sure. They're still doing the investigation, but it's believed that it was an honor killing in their home. He must have disrespected his family, so they killed him. But because he's a Muslim, this piece of crap Secretary of State, this mouthpiece for Obama, who is an apologist for the Islamist scumbags killing Americans around the world, John Kerry comes out almost immediately and says that the United States condemns in the strongest possible terms the despicable and senseless abduction and murder of Mohammed Hussein Abu Qadir. It is sickening to think of an innocent 17-year-old boy snatched off the streets and his whole life stolen from him and his family. There are no words to convey adequately our condolences to the Palestinian people. John Kerry, you're a scumbag. Where was the outrage when 17 days went by with 3 Israeli boys being kidnapped? Perhaps if you'd have stepped up and said something, these boys would still be alive today. The only people that Obama and his company will defend and speak up for are black people that get mugged by white people, as rare as that happens. They'll never say anything about white people get mugged by blacks. Or the Trayvon Martin thing where he was mugging another guy and got killed for it. Or in defense of Muslims anywhere. without all the facts, that investigation is still coming out, and Obama's there to say how horrible it is that a Muslim was killed. Shame on you, Barack Obama. Shame on you, Barack Hussein Obama. And shame on you, John Kerry, for not having the backbone to stand up and say something when those boys were kidnapped. ISIS, the Islamic State of Syria and Iraq, having stormed through Syria and now down through Iraq, taking large pieces that have already been conceded to them by the president of Iraq. They now say that we will take Spain back. The Islamists controlled Spain many generations ago. I think it was from the 800s to the 1300s, and then they were driven out. There are still some mosques and monuments there, and honor, if you can say honor and Muslim in the same word, in the same sentence. But they're claiming that they're coming to take Spain back. I've got a feeling Spain may object to that. But Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, has other plans. We'll talk about those when we come right back. Again, more bills to pay. But stick with us. We're going to give a book away when we come back, and then we'll get into the story.
Your voice, your opinions, heard round the world at www.kcaaradio.com. The station that leaves no listener behind, AM 1050 KCAA.
Tom O'Halloran, holding the line against tyranny from Washington, D.C.
I am America. One voice, united we stand. I am America. One hope to heal our land. There is still work that must be done. I will not rest until we've won. I am America.
And welcome back. This is Jihad on America, and I am your host, Tom O'Halloran. Okay, we're going to give away a book by my friend, Colin Flaherty. The book is White Girl Bleed a Lot, The Return of Racial Violence to America and How the Media Ignore It. Nearly 400 pages, story after story, of swarms of black youths, typically 12 to 20 black youths, coming in and picking on a defenseless woman, almost always, sometimes little old guys, but defenseless people, usually almost always by themselves. They play a game called the knockout game. The objective of this so-called game is to attack the person from behind and try to punch them out with one punch. Failing that, when they fall down to the ground, you just keep swinging and kicking until they're out. It's horrible. Over 80 cities have reported this. Over 300 incidents in the last couple of years. A lot of these incidents are in the book. Many of them have QR codes in them, so you can scan it with your smartphone, and your phone will take you to YouTube where there's a video, if not of the actual attack, then of the news coverage. The media and the police won't call this black on white crime because that affects their city, their tourism, their crime stats. It's called mischievousness. It's called all sorts of stuff, but what it really is, it's an epidemic, and we need to get rid of it. I'm going to give away a copy of this book to the first caller at 888-909-1050. And don't think you can't win a book. because sometimes everybody thinks they won't and nobody calls, and we still have the book left over after the show. So call in, get a copy of this fabulous book. Absolutely terrific book. Okay, before the break, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the self-proclaimed leader of the Islamic State, which is now stretching across Iraq and Syria, he's vowed to lead the conquest of Rome. He wants to take Italy. He wants to take Italy and take over the Pope's palace, the whole Vatican City. There have been over 2,400 people killed in the last month by these murdering scumbags, these violent people, more violent than any other faction of Al-Qaeda, which spawned this mess. This guy supposedly has a PhD in Islamic studies. And his goal is to sweep through Europe, Spain, Portugal, as much of Europe and Asia as he can swallow up. He's declared himself the title of Caliph, which is the head. It's like being the Pope, if you will, of Islam, claiming to be the highest of all high. He's high, all right, if he thinks he's going to take over Spain and Italy. People, we've got to stand up. We've got to stop letting things happen. They take these baby steps and then have us doing their bidding. They're now recruiting our children. Our children. We had a couple of these last week. We've got another one today. In Denver, 19-year-old girl, Shannon Maureen Conley. Good Irish girl. Beautiful name like that. But she's also known as Halima because she's converted to this horrible thing they call a religion, which is not a religion. And please, if you have not heard my show, Islam is not a religion, please take the time, go to patriotradioshow.com, listen to that show. Also listen to the show on the Muslim Brotherhood. I tell you things in both of these shows that I guarantee you have not heard anywhere else. And these are facts. This is not hate speech. I am not attacking Islam. I am explaining Islam. So Shannon Maureen Conley fell in with some Islamists online. They talked her into how great it would be to come over and kill people. Come over and be a murdering scumbag. Kill anybody that says they believe in God. FBI was notified that she was doing some suspicious stuff, so they looked into her. They actually, without identifying who they were, tried to talk her out of it, but she wasn't having any of that. And came a point, she was just arrested at the Denver International Airport trying to board a plane to Turkey. Her luggage contained literature about Al-Qaeda, CDs labeled Anwar al-Awlaki. The 19-year-old described herself to investigators as a Muslim convert who was interested in guerrilla warfare. She had met a Tunisian man known by the initials YM online and was planning to travel to Syria to marry him. Obviously, young Maureen Conley is too ignorant to realize that a Muslim is not going to marry out of the religion, and probably not going to marry somebody stupid enough to fly through an airport with tapes and books on Al-Qaeda in their luggage either. They're useful idiots, these youths. Going to Turkey, going to all sorts of ports over there from Australia, from Canada, being recruited online, the romanticism, if you will, of the mystery, being a rogue, carrying a sword, strapping a bomb to your chest and killing people. It sounds such an exciting life. Here's a Seattle Muslim. We talked about this earlier in the show. Ali Mohammed Brown was charged with executing 2 gay men in Seattle. He was previously prosecuted federally following an FBI probe into an Islamic group suspected of supporting jihadists overseas. No information there whether he was supporting them with money, photographs of buildings and bridges, or what. But he was prosecuted. He's a devout Muslim. He's also a registered sex offender. Oh, look at this. He's a sex offender for crimes against a 6-year-old girl. Gee, didn't we talk about that? It's okay to rape kids. He's a Muslim. Let it go. This is what they do. We've actually had judges here in America fail to prosecute crimes such as rape because the guy was Muslim. And that's just what they do. It's just part of their culture. A man wants sex. His wife is property. He's allowed to rape her. That's just the way it is with them. Just let it go. What right does she have to say she doesn't want to have sex if her husband wants it? Just judging. I'm just telling you what is allowed by law. Oh, man. So we finally picked up a Libyan jihadi that was involved in Benghazi. The one guy that we finally arrested after all these months, year and a half or more by now, we picked him up, we flew him offshore to a ship. They investigated, they asked him some questions, and then they read him his rights. Because Obama wanted him to do exactly what he did. He shut up, he demanded a lawyer, and now we will never know the truth about what this guy did or what he knew. Obama wants to keep things quiet. By not arresting any of these people, 17 witnesses to the Benghazi attack that killed 4 Americans. 17 witnesses have been killed since then. All to keep Obama in the clear. So nobody will know the horrible neglect that Obama and Hillary Clinton put these guys at risk over. So this guy's now, he was arraigned in a civil court here in the United States. We can't make him talk. We can't force him to do anything. Now he's demanding a Quran and halal food. The judge said that it's not up to him. He'll leave that up to the marshals that take him and lock him up. He'll remain in custody until his court hearing. But we will never know what this participant in the Benghazi attack knew or did, because a civilian court is hearing the case, and he was allowed all the rights and protections of a U.S. citizen. These are not rights that were given to Muslim terrorists, for people that planned on killing and did kill and are killing and will kill American citizens. Our rights were our rights to protect American citizens from an overburdening government. They weren't written to protect scumbags that are trying to attack us. The problem is we've got a Muslim Brotherhood, terrorist-loving SOB in the White House. And until you guys get off your butts, call your congressmen, call your senators, and demand that they impeach him, remove him from office, and remove Eric Holder, and get a real attorney general that will prosecute crimes against Americans. Crimes committed by the President of the United States, by his attorney general, and by other blacks that are protected by this administration. This administration admitted they will not prosecute black on white crime. It's horrid. It's the most racist administration in the history of the United States of America, and they need to be removed. And I don't mean in 2016. Folks, we've got some bills to pay. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
For the record, hell, we are the record. KCAA, the Inland Talk Express.
Tom O'Halloran has a not-so-common core spelling lesson for the Obama administration. Ready? There is no K in America.
There's kids that can't pray in school, $100 tanks of gas. I can tell you right now, this country ain't supposed to be like that. No, that ain't my America. That ain't this country's roots. You wanna slam all on the Sam, but
And welcome back. Welcome back, Jihad on America. We've got a true jihad alert. The terrorists have upped their game, supposedly, and developed a bomb that they can actually sew into the body of their terrorist friends, put them on an airplane with the bomb, theoretically anyway, undetected. So I'm not sure how they did it or what's happening, but any flight coming into the United States directly is tightening up security. If it's undetectable, I don't know how a second scan is going to do much better. But say prayers as your friends and family go on vacation, because from France to Italy to virtually anywhere where flights come from somewhere else, they're going through extra security checks. We've been put on alert. We're expecting some serious stuff to be coming down in the not too distant future. Today is the 4th of July. Please, I'm sure you're having your barbecue, your grill fired up. Everybody's having a good time watching the ball games, stuff like that. Don't want to detract from any of that, but the day is not about barbecue. It's not National Barbecue Day. 4th of July, the day of our independence. Think about freedom. Think about liberty. Think about the Constitution of the United States, while it's been denigrated in the recent years. Think about the fact that America, the United States of America, is the only country in history that has ever been founded upon an ideal. Upon an ideal. And for over 200 years, we've grown and we've prospered. We've led the world in so many areas. We've become the greatest. We've shed more blood freeing other people. We spent more money feeding other people than any country in the world, probably than the next 10 countries combined. Everything this show is about, Islam, Sharia, ISIS, Muslims, all of it is in direct opposition to everything today stands for. The last thing any of these hateful people want is freedom or liberty. So think about the country that we were and give a few minutes thought to the stories that we've touched on. People killing people just for their beliefs, whether it be because you're gay or because you don't believe that as a Muslim you're supposed to kill people. You get killed for not wanting to kill people or for not being a Muslim to begin with. These people want to kill anybody that doesn't want to do it their way. That is the absolute opposite of freedom, of liberty. We live in what used to be the greatest place in the world. Unfortunately, the other side got one of their guys into the White House. And thanks to the mainstream media for not reporting who he really was. Those of us that were awake knew. There haven't been any surprises in the last 5 years because we knew exactly what the animal was. And a leopard doesn't change his spots. But we're moving away from what this country was all about when it was founded. The greatness, the pride. Heck, I do my show, by the way. We're being broadcast in Southern California. But I left California over a decade ago because of the rules, because of the tyranny, the government control. I'm in Texas now. And I am an American, and I'm still proud to be an American. But I'm also ashamed of what's happening in America. And I don't say I'm proud to be an American nearly as much as I used to, and probably not nearly as much as I should. These days, I'm proud to be a Texan. Because freedom is still here in Texas. Liberties are still here. We're still proud of self-reliance, self-dependence, not being on the dole, not taking money from the government, self-responsibility. We believe that everybody was equal at the starting line. Obama wants everybody to be equal at the finish line. There's a huge, huge difference, folks. Please take a minute today, as I have, to think about how great America still is. It's not as great as it was. We've dropped in so many areas. From education, we're so far down. We're way down on the education list. We're way down on freedoms. We're not even the freest nation on earth now. How sick is that? Personal freedoms, financial freedoms. But we're still the greatest place. All these Muslims that hate America, they're coming here. If not legally, they're sneaking across the Mexican border, but they're coming here because in spite of everything Obama's doing to tear this country apart, we are still the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We always have been, and I pray to God that we always will be. I can't bank on that. I can't tell you that we will be, but I do pray that we will survive this mess that he's putting us through. Now, I get asked on a regular basis what people individually can do to make a difference. They say, Tom, I listen to your show or I read your blog. You make a lot of sense. You open our eyes with these stories, with the different things that are happening. But what can I do to make a difference? Folks, find a website that you like. It's one that you get information from that opens your eyes. I'd like it to be mine. Start with TomO'Halloran.com. Veronica and I post 10, 15 stories a day there. Read them. Find 2, find 4 that you like, that opened your eyes to something you didn't know was happening. Email them, tweet them out, print them out, post them up at work. Let people know that you know what's going on, that your eyes are open. They'll thank you for opening their eyes. Then when you're done with that, look at the very top. On TomO'Halloran.com, there's a menu bar at the very top. We have another 12 sites that we run. Single issue sites. There's one just on Hillary Clinton. There's one for this show, Jihad On America. Each of these sites are single issue sites. Find one that touches your buttons. Do the same thing. Find a couple stories you like. Spread the word. I post a ton of information on these sites, Veronica and I do, and with 140,000 followers on Twitter, I have a lot of readers. But if only 10% of them would post 2 articles a day, and if 10% of the people that read those would do the same thing, the number of people that are waking up in this country would grow exponentially. So whether you use my websites or somebody else's, it's not about me, it's about the issues. Find a website or websites that move you. Share articles. It's not too late to turn our country back around and get her back on track. But at this point in the fight, you're either helping or you're part of the problem. It's time to take the gloves off and fight for what you believe in. There are a lot of people out there intent on destroying America. Some of them we appointed, like Obama. Some of them are just snuck into office, like the 5 Muslim Brotherhood members that he appointed to his administration. And some of them aren't even in the government. But they're intent on destroying us. And we either engage the enemy now, or we have to accept the fact that we're going to be turning a Muslim America over to our kids. They'll never know, our grandkids will never know, the freedoms and liberties that we've had that have made this country great. Good night, America. God bless you and yours. This is Tom O'Halloran. I'm out.